Welcome to Start With The Facts. Yo, welcome back to Start With The Facts. You are joined by your host, Maurice Claret. And today, just like I say every day, our producer, Will Fairbanks, has a history of messing up at the top of the show, and that he did. I had to fuck up too, and so I said, hey, Will, like, since you had two and I had one, we have to start this whole thing over because we don't want to have any problems or any mishaps starting the show. But y'all know how this thing starts. I usually start off with positive affirmations about myself and talk about how good of a podcaster, content creator, and a genius football and sports brain I am. And even if I'm wrong and we have a bad take here somewhere, I can like influence Will to go back and edit it out. So I'll always make myself look right. So in case you didn't know, but we're joined today by two of the three co-hosts, Mr. Alex Allen and Mr. Brian Inkrot. DJ, he took off today. I don't know what he's doing down in South Florida. He's probably getting himself together for the game this weekend with the Canes. Y'all know every day, somehow, some way, he's going to find out how to talk about the Miami Hurricanes. There can be 1,000 things going on in all of sports, but somehow, some way, he's going to end up talking about those damn Hurricanes. And for those who don't know, we're on every day at 5 p.m. Alex actually is our technical genius. We're still trying to figure out how to make the link easier or a way easier to communicate to people. So we'll figure it out. And hopefully, we'll get the word out easier in regards to what we do. But I typically intro the show. And then if you didn't know, Brian Inkrot, the only white guy on the set, he kind of takes over from there and hosts the show. And so with that being said, I'm going to pass the show to my main man, Brian Inkrot.
Thanks, Maurice. And our audience, we have some highly intelligent folks that are watching us out on YouTube. They know that I am the number one sports picker in America. I'm here to break down games to help them cash checks, right? That's what I'm here for. You keep adding all these words to your affirmations.
Yeah, Brian.
You know what I'm saying? Like every day it gets longer and longer.
Editorial control. Look, as long as you have editorial control, you can make yourself look. This is the internet. You can be anything you want to be. And in order for me to be a genius, like y'all will leave and I'll have Will edit the show, like post edit. And I can go ahead and make myself look as good as I need to look for the internet. But go ahead.
All right. So first topic today, guys. I don't know if you've seen this over the last couple of days, but a lot of buzz around who the NFL has announced doing their halftime show. There was some speculation that it was going to be Taylor Swift, and they came out and said it's going to be Bad Bunny. I don't know why. I'm going to let you guys answer the question, but a lot of polarizing opinions on this, whether it's good or bad for the NFL and for the Super Bowl. Which one of you guys want to go first?
I'll be short and sweet. I don't even know who the dude is.
Oh, you don't?
No, I mean, I know the name. I know the name. The name, but I don't listen to his music.
I got you.
And I don't know who he is. Like, I wouldn't follow him. But when I think about Bad Bunny, there's no such thing as bad money, right? So what do you think they're doing it for? He's one of the biggest, stars in the world right now.
Yeah.
Not from America. So what type of crowd do you think he's going to bring in just for eyes on the Super Bowl? So I think it's a genius, taking it from, y'all book, I think it's a genius business move. But as far as Americans, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm thinking there's some type of controversial with something he said about America or
him
what?
and Trump.
Okay, well, there it is.
No, it's two things. The first thing, I'll piggyback on to what you said. I just think it's all business move.
Yeah.
I think it's an entirely business move. If you look at the amount of games that are being played internationally, they're trying to take the sport internationally. When you look at why the NBA has grown, they're trying to grow the game and grow the sport internationally. Mm-hmm. It gets to a point now that this stuff is like all of the revenue that's generated comes a lot through these streaming platforms. You can take these streaming platforms across the entire world. If you want people to view your product who hasn't viewed your product before and they're not necessarily interested in football, you need to put some sort of median in place to make them attracted to it. So you start to bring preseason games, you start to bring entertainment, and you start to infuse cultures with one another to get people interested. The Taylor Swift thing doesn't really make sense because you see a lot of her. Right. So you get her fan base and you get those.
They already have that locked up, right?
For free.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't even need to perform for
That's
it.
Right.
And so I view Bad Bunny as the NFL and Jay-Z attempting to create the the reach or with the footprint. And you're talking about two different conversations. The entertainment aspect and growing the brand of the NFL is one thing. And then the remarks or whatever position he took towards Trump is something totally different. And that had a lot to do with immigration. And they were talking a lot where he was trying not to have American shows because they thought that a lot of people of Latin descent would come and they would have ICE agents there. And then he would basically be creating an environment for people to get arrested and all this other, nonsense. And so I don't have any remarks in regards to that. But in regards to your original question about that, I think Alex was right with it's the NFL growing the brand.
Sure. I think, and I'll give a comment, then you definitely jump in, but I think anybody who's upset about it, they're still going to watch the Super Bowl, right? So you're not alienating, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of people by putting him on stage at halftime. No. You are bringing in a new audience. Yep. And I think some of this is, I had read the NFL, I think it was this year in Mexico City, Azteca Stadium is being like redesigned or reconstructed. So the NFL didn't put a game in Mexico this year. Maybe that played into this a little bit. They went heavy on Europe this year. Some maybe 12 games or something are being played throughout Europe. But they've also...
Which is a lot.
It absolutely is a lot. And now they've announced there are plans. I think Australia is next, and they'll be hosting games in Asia soon. So what the NFL is saying, international doesn't mean the Americas, North and South America, and Europe. They want to be global. Yes. Yeah. And they want to hit, Australia and Asia as well. I think this helps pull in additional viewers, and people find something to be pissed about, no matter what it is, right? It could have been it could have been a country singer, and you're going to have people that are pissed, right? It could be somebody that's heavy metal. People will be pissed. Last couple of years, it's been rap artists. There are people that are pissed. Every year when they announce who it is, there's a group that feels offended that maybe their group or their brand of music wasn't picked, and they get upset about it. So that's life. Yeah,
that's life. And to kind of piggyback on the business part of it and the growth of the NFL. So I lived overseas. I played ball overseas for 8 years in Europe and in South America. And so we played on a Friday or Saturday. There's always followed up with a big event on the NFL games. When I was in Brazil, I want to say 2015 was my first year. When the NFL games would come on, it was a stat that they put out that in Brazil, American football was the fastest growing sport than any other sport in the world, if that makes sense. Yeah. And it was just growing fast. So seeing that happen and now having, 2 games already in Brazil, NFL games, it's growing. So I think the marketing part of it is great. So I've seen the growth just by being there. So keep doing it, NFL. You're doing great.
No, they're doing something right.
The world is a big place. Sometimes we get trapped in America and think that America is all that it is. Yeah. And so, actually, soccer is the biggest sport in the world. And just FYI. So.
Yeah, probably not obviously the fastest growing because it's been the most popular sport. They call it the world sport for a long time. But fastest growing, that could absolutely be American football. Let's keep it in the NFL. Let's talk about something that rarely happens, and that's an intra-divisional trade in the middle of the year. Hasn't been done with a quarterback since 1990, and it's the first trade between the Browns and the Bengals since the Browns returned to Cleveland in 1999. And that's Joe Flacco being traded midseason to the Cincinnati Bengals. And I feel like Cleveland was listening to you, Maurice, general manager soon to be of the Cleveland Browns, on how they needed to handle the Joe Flacco situation. So it sounds like they took your advice. You got to be happy about that.
Yeah, I'm happy to listen. If you need my advice, I'm 2 hours down the road from you. So anytime you need some advising, I wouldn't mind coming up and consult with everybody up there. But I think this is this by the Bengals is more or less to keep Jamar Chase and T. Higgins happy. Yeah. And, you have to, if you spent that dollar amount on 2 receivers and, you obviously spent that money on Joe Burrow, you have to, in some regard, keep these guys happy. You have to make sure that their stats hit a certain benchmark because I'm pretty sure there's a ton of controls in both of their contracts to be productive, and you can't miss games, and you have to get catches, and there's a bunch of other stuff that I'm pretty sure that goes into this. And Browning was basically stinking the place up. And so I'm pretty sure those guys are going to the head coach and going to the GM and saying, hey, man, get this dude the fuck out of here. He's ruining my stats. He's ruining our
chance at a bonus.
Yeah, he's ruining my chance at the bonus. And what are you going to do? You're going to look around the league and you're going to say he's a veteran guy who's won a Super Bowl before and who's led, I want to say he led Cleveland to the playoffs, had done well in Indianapolis, and he'll do enough until we can get Joe Burrow back. So I think it was that. In regards to the Browns, I told, just like I said on It Is What It Is, I'm happy that he gets Shador closer to the door of starting. It takes Joe Flacco all the way out of the conversation. I think at some point, weirdly saying you're going to have Deshaun Watson enter the conversation just because you're paying him $50 million and he becomes a story once he's back and able to play. So, I don't know. It was surprising to me to see it happen. But when you take it a step deeper and you get outside the, hey, man, I can't believe this happened, and you start to like ask yourself what was really happening, I think it has more to do with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins being happy.
Hey, Brian, I think they listen more to me than they did to Mo. Hey, Mo, I'm 2 hours down the street, too. Probably even closer. Listen, what did I say? I said Shador Sanders should be number 2. They saw it. They said, all right, let's get rid of Joe. That's how we fix that problem. And so with them doing that, it makes it better for the Steelers, honestly. You think about teams not having a sure number 1 quarterback with the Browns, and now Joe Flacco is down there with the Bengals. Football is football, but it's still going to be an adjustment, And so that gives the Steelers an opportunity to continue to push forward and separate that gap. And if we do that, then I'll be more like, I feel better about, what I was saying yesterday about us not having enough, not doing enough. But with that shakeup, that helps us out tremendously. And I love it because his Browns want to continue to sink.
How does this help the Steelers?
It helps us because there's confusion now. Now you're going to.
Where is there confusion?
Okay, let me help you out. The confusion comes.
I have a follow-up question after this.
Okay,
because you see it.
Go ahead. You don't have to get it. I'm gonna tell you how my brain works. Only times there's DJ up there and he cuts me off. So this is the first time I really get the floor, and I'm loving it. Not the Steelers. The Browns have Dylan Gabriel, and then they have the distraction with Shador. That's always going to be a distraction.
But the Browns aren't in contention for the AFC North anyway.
No, but I'm telling you about how it's going to help me feel better about us taking it all the way, right?
Okay.
And then now you got you got Flacco down there with the Bengals, who still has to learn the system. Football is football. He's been around for a long time, but it's still a cultural difference as well. So it's going to take him a few weeks for them to get that together. That's what I'm saying.
Does Joe Flacco give the Bengals a better chance to win than Jake Browning?
Yes, he does.
So how does that help the Steelers?
It helps them because they still trash. They're still bad. So he's not going to be right. He's not going to be.
I just wanted him to talk so he can. So yesterday, if you all watched the show yesterday, I told you he was full of. I told you yesterday he was full of shit. All this fake humility. It was fake humility yesterday, and it just was on display right now. So you mean to tell me in the last 24 hours? Yesterday, he told us that he didn't feel great about the Steelers winning. That show got shot early in the morning. So we shoot the show in the morning. It comes out at 5. They add to Joe Flacco. He says that they have a better chance of winning. And now since they have a better chance of winning, he feels better about the Steelers.
Absolutely.
You see how that doesn't make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
So yesterday, you had a guy.
It's a lot of sense.
Hold on. So let y'all know he was full of shit yesterday. That was the whole thing. Let me just say this again for the people who can hear it. They got a better quarterback, and with them getting a better quarterback, he now feels that the Steelers. Hold on, don't cut me off. I'm just using your words against you. That's what I said. Just let him talk. This is what I told y'all yesterday. He was full of shit. He was coming around this fake humble shit. He knew how he felt about the Steelers yesterday. I just want y'all to say this. This is why I call myself a genius. I can catch the BS, the fake humility. This is what he really wanted to say yesterday, and he couldn't contain himself. And I'm actually in agreement with him. I just wish he came to the point faster. I think the Steelers are going to win a division. Alex was just trying to be fake humble, to be fake polite. That's all I'm saying.
There wasn't nothing fake about it. It is going to make sense. You're going to have to play it back a few times, but it's going to make sense. The confusion is there, but go ahead.
If I look confused, I genuinely
not confusing with you within the teams.
I appreciate you digging your heels in.
I was telling my guns. Flacco is new in a new system. Flacco's been stinking it up. Yes, he has two new weapons, but he's also the new guy too. Like it's just
You just said that you think that they'll be better with a Joe Flacco.
they will be, but there's going to be a learning curve. They won't be better like right out the way. So what I'm saying is, for a few weeks, we still have a chance to separate ourselves. You bring in a new quarterback, right? Even if Browning was thinking it up, he was still kind of building chemistry, whether it was slow or not. Flacco's going to have to build chemistry right away.
I respect.
You see what I'm saying?
Hang on. This is Will. Move on. Alex is digging the grave. Get off the topic. I got it. Yeah, I'm going to transition. Thanks.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Okay, moving on. We're going to talk about the Olympics.
This is what this is. Okay.
Thank you, Brian.
Hey, we got 2 Browns fans here, by the way.
We're going to move on. We're going to talk about the NFL and the Olympics and flag football. So Tom Brady, Saquon Barkley, and others have signed up to go to Saudi Arabia and play in an inaugural, I felt like DJ there for a minute, flag football game to help promote flag football in the Olympics in Los Angeles in 2028.
Yeah.
Also, the NFL putting out a statement maybe within the last 2 or 3 days that they're going to create a women's league and a men's league for flag football. Is that something you'd be interested in watching?
Yes. Women.
Oh boy.
No, I mean, I don't care about this. I don't even care. I don't give a fuck if they care. I don't. I mean, it just, I don't know. Like football is just something I don't see women play traditionally.
But flag football.
I'm just talking about football in general. I always look at football as a man's sport. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. But here we go. Let me be clear. I would be interested to see the men play flag football just because there are a lot of guys who can't, like, let me give you an example. When you play 7-on-7 with guys, there are some guys who are super athletic who can never do the things that they do on 7-on-7 on the real football field. And they're very entertaining. They're very elusive. They juke a whole lot. These are the thoughts I was trying to get out of my brain. They're speedsters, but when it comes to contact, that these guys just aren't good. They can play a great game with flags on, right?
Yep.
Tackle contact football is something else. In regards to women, it just goes back to when we talk about women don't have the factor of dunking or doing something explosive or exciting. So if I'm then going to watch just people play football at a methodical pace, that just may not be interesting to me. You may ask yourself, like, what is it that they can do, right? And so then you start to curve the conversation into something else totally different. The reason that they play in lingerie is to add an element of entertainment and an aesthetic to say, okay, it's more about that. Are you going to take that and put that on the Olympic stage? No. Like, I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? But that may be part of the culture in volleyball, where they wear very little shorts and you have very tall women who are in shape, and then people naturally get attracted to that, and they hide it in the, like, hey man, we play on the beach. And so you can hide the aesthetic because of that. But the Olympics and all of these other countries, like these Muslim countries and all these other countries who are a lot more conservative with the way people dress, they're not going for that shit. You know, you're not about to have all these women from, these Asian countries and all this other stuff, putting women out there half naked to compete against something like that. So my mind went into like 4 or 5 different directions. I just had to have time to separate them. But just to explain it simply, there's men who are very, very talented. There's people who are shorter, who just are good at, you know what I'm talking about. I'll let Alex, build onto the point, but that's what I was talking about when I was explaining it.
Hey, nobody was there to save me when I was making my point. Now you want me to save you?
I made my point.
You can't be saved, man.
He can see he's holding on. Look, hey, so I got him. This is what happens. You see when you get somebody and they don't want to. You sound like OBJ and steroids. This is what it sounds like when you got, and you're like, damn, this motherfucker got me.
No, it was more like, you always trying to dissect me, so I'm going to dissect you right. So, no. So the original question was, how do I feel about the...
Yeah, is it something you would watch?
I would watch it. Like I said, when I was down in Brazil, it was huge, flag football, because a lot of people couldn't play the contact. It's just different for them. So I've seen co-ed sports, co-ed flag football, and it was good to watch, A lot of the female athletes, they're really athletes. They can compete with, think about this. If you are a girl and you grow up, and we know a couple from Youngstown, if you grow up with dudes, you're going to, as brothers, you're going to be a better athlete than a female who doesn't.
100%.
And they can ball like dudes. And it shouldn't be a sex thing, but It's just, it is what it is, right? So I would definitely watch it. But I like the fact that Tom Brady is pushing it. I think he's coming out of retirement
Yeah.
to play in it. But in Saudi Arabia, they're doing some great things in Riyadh. You know, I don't know how much you guys dug into it, but they're trying to make a whole event out of this. Flag football.
And they're going to make a whole. You know who they call him His Excellency. You know who that is?
I don't.
He's the guy who's basically transforming boxing. So
That's what I was about to get into.
Yeah, what people did, and I don't want go ahead.
No, you good. Go ahead.
Basically what they're doing is they're saying first he took over boxing. He was the one who put on the Canelo versus Crawford fight, and they're saying, "Hey, you all in America don't know how to do this, or the business of these sports is so disjointed. I have enough money to say fuck all of you, and let me put on a sport that actually people want to see." And so they did it with live golfing. Probably what was that? 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago.
I think 3.
Yeah,
more
what I'm talking.
recent. Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about. But they basically said, "Hey, let's just pay these guys to come over here and golf
hundreds of millions of dollars to leave the PGA." And
and I'm pretty sure that's why they're doing the same thing with Tom Brady. And they have more money to piss away than we will ever see in our lifetimes. And so that's what they're doing. So
they're talking about the NBA too. You know, there's rumors swirling. Can they do this with the NBA? Would they have the power with some older players who are nearing retirement?
Yes.
LeBron James.
No, it's the same thing with, so you know Ice Cube's Big Three?
Yeah.
It's the same, but Ice Cube couldn't raise the money that these guys have. Like, these guys are going to their world fund. Like, have you ever seen the whole thing of the world fund of, like, they just bought EA Sports?
$55 billion.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So they have a country's fund to go and buy pieces of America or take the industry that makes a lot of money, and they're just shelling out money. This shit grows out the ground for these dudes. They don't give a fuck about this money, bro. And so that's a whole different subject and topic, but I think that they'll end up doing this just because they'll see how, like, basically how great they probably did with Crawford versus Canelo, and they can make these big, massive sporting events and make them over the top and do Super Bowl type events, you know, whenever. So I don't know.
I mean, they're pulling everything else from America. They might as well pull and start with the facts, you know, to hold.
They're open to sponsors.
We'll do the podcast for them.
Yeah,
for sure.
Say yes. We're not above that.
Not at all.
I think it's interesting when you look at Olympic basketball, when you can get NBA players, when teams, you know, when we went away from that college model and we went and sent our best, that was exciting to me. And it still is. I think in the NHL, you send your best, and the best tend to also be from Russia and Canada and you know, other countries, not just the US. So the NHL or hockey in the Olympics is also fun. I think flag football, I'll watch it either way as an Olympic sport because it's new and it's different. But if you can get NFL athletes and big names out there to play, I think it'll be a lot of fun. I just don't know. The NFL is more powerful than the NHL and the NBA. And will NFL owners allow players to play?
No.
And they haven't, I don't believe it's been voted on by the owners yet. But I just don't see how they'll risk injuries to their star players, letting them go out there.
But I guarantee there's a dude who doesn't play in the NFL who would tear these NFL guys' asses up. But flag football is something totally flag football is street football. I mean, just like you have street basketball, flag football is the street football. Because
can I ask you a question? What? So if you put NFL players on one team and they come together and they only get, you know, like a week to practice, right? Or 2 weeks, because that's all they would really have for the Olympics. And you take a team of people who maybe, you know, played in college, but have nothing to do with professional football at any level currently. And they have months to practice. Who wins that game head to head?
Have they been playing flag for a while?
Yeah, they're flag football guys.
And,
yes.
And the NFL guys are not flag? No.
They're just the best players in the NFL at tackle football.
They'll have a chance to compete just off of sheer athleticism. But when it comes to the rules of the game and flag, it's going to be tough to beat those guys who've been playing it for a while. Yes, it's going to be tough.
But which one would you rather watch?
I would rather watch the guys who've been doing it for a while, you know.
Not the names.
No.
What about
that's
you,
just me.
What would you rather do?
I mean, I would tend to believe you'll watch if you're a fan of a team and your guys out there, you'll watch him do that. But part of his thing is he's a good football player, a tackle football player. You know what I'm saying? Who plays within a system, who plays within a scheme. That mentality is totally different. Flag football is really 7-on-7, draw it up in the dirt, make you miss, become elusive. A lot of guys aren't built like that. Like that is like a total different skill set. And so I don't know. It could be fun. I had to ask you a question, Alex. Did you watch Did you watch flag football for women in Brazil just because you're in Brazil and it was the women?
Just know that I know. So, oh man, listen,
Hey, listen to me.
it was more so.
Hold on. Let's slow this down. Make sure you got this right. I'm gonna let you
Let me get off the humble train. Go ahead.
No,
I'm gonna get off the humble train.
So-
I'm open for about 3 minutes. Pause.
Would you watch this in Oskokie, Wisconsin?
No.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. You were a young guy then. You're in Brazil. I'm just saying. Were you watching for visual pleasure, or were you watching because you were interested in athletic ability?
Yeah. Yeah, just simple as that. Listen. I've never been interested in football volley. I didn't even know what football was.
Little hacky sack?
No. It's volleyball, but you're using your feet.
Over a net.
Yeah, but it's a lot of jumping, a lot of twisting, and you know what I'm looking at the jumping and twisting, if you know what I mean. So yeah,
Did you get out there and play?
No,
we just want you to flush out your answer.
Yeah, I like the sights, bro. I like the sights. But at the end of the day,
would you like to? So do you like the sights, or would you watch them play football? And I'm just trying to say,
it started off with the sights.
Okay.
I still like the sights in Brazil, but I've also seen them ball too, and it's like it's good to watch, especially when it's co-ed because it's a good mixture. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, Will. Next topic. I got you, Will.
All right, on me, man. I'm the butt of the joke.
I'm gonna remember this little trick.
I
Will,
got
did you say so when DJ's here tomorrow?
Don't worry, I'm gonna remember when he'll never get long-winded. Go ahead.
I'm just the transition guy. Come on, man. I'm just the transition guy. All right, college football. Let's transition to college football, right? So right now, 2 transfer portal windows, January and April, Maurice. Is April?
yeah, it's only one now.
But now we're down to 1 transfer portal, January 2nd through the 16th.
Yeah.
So
15-day window, right?
So what started as the wild, wild west a little bit with the transfer portal, you can still transfer as many times as you would like, which I'd like to see them do something about. They are getting some consistency and agreement to narrow it down to 1 transfer window. For various teams, depending on your skill level and, are you still playing in January in the playoffs? I'm sure different coaches and different teams have different thoughts on this. What do you think for premier programs? Does this help or hurt?
No. Speaking from an Ohio State's perspective and them being a premier program, chances are they're still planning at that time along with top 16 teams, and it's unfair to the kids. So let's talk about the kids at first. It's unfair to the kids who are still playing in the college football playoffs or preparing for that. To then have to think about another school that they may want to go to. This person may be a practice person that is helping guys prepare. This person just may have not been through with that entire process. Or you may be reaching into a guy's program and disrupting a guy's program when this works for the bottom part of this other group. I don't know why you just wouldn't wait 2 months or a month and a half when everybody's done, everybody can focus, and you kind of run this in conjunction with signing day, when everything is done and you can actually look at all of the data at once. And so the NCAA hasn't gotten a lot right with big issues. That's pretty consistent. It's while we're here, just because they haven't gotten these big issues right. And then when they're left to be figured out by everybody else, everybody gets mad that everybody calls things the Wild Wild West. Well, things become the Wild Wild West when you don't have somebody who can govern what the fuck is going on. And so that's my 2 cents on it. And I don't even think we're a decade away, because college football is so disjointed into what will work for everybody. I think programs have grown to a point where some have matured, some haven't. And then now we're talking about what is fair for everybody. When everybody's in a different position financially, you'll never have something that's fair for everybody. You should have established this at the beginning of it, and then you would have had, more equity to, push decisions on and push outcomes on. But that's just my 2 cents about the whole situation.
I like it. It gives the coaches, we talked about Belichick and him not having a full off season to kind of get his players and staff corrected. But when there's only 1, you get guys in place. Now you can start building on that. And to counter what you said about they should just have it butt up against signing day. Do you think that makes it better?
No, I think you're dealing with the roster. I think you're dealing with building out your roster all at once. You're talking about the freshmen who are coming in or the high school seniors who are coming to be
Right.
freshmen, and then other guys that you're kind of swapping out in the portal, and you're kind of looking at it like all within one window, right?
Wouldn't that screw the high school athletes?
No, it wouldn't screw them. It would just like, so you're looking at it more from a lens of like it's a competitive thing. Like this is just another variable in the mixture. It's really free agency with another crop of kids coming from high school. It just makes the pool larger. I don't think it screws them, but it just makes your considerations different. Where you're talking about who can I grab from another school, who's going to be on my high school roster, and you're just looking at filling out your roster all at once. It would be the same as you looking at free agency and the draft at the same time. If you looked at the NFL, or you looked at the players coming from college as high school seniors, and you're looking at free agency saying, hey, let me kind of, pull whoever else I can out of the market who happens to be a free agent.
And there's a good amount of that when before the draft, you may sign 2 or 3, but then they'll stop and they'll wait to see who they get in the draft first. And then after the draft is done, then they'll go back to free agency. I think when you do it like this, those athletes who from high school who are looking to sign with a team, it's more than likely that a college is going to take the more experienced guy. We talked about them looking at MAC schools and
Correct.
saying, hey, we need this guy who's been starting. But then if you got a guy that's coming from Olentangy and it's like, we either take the MAC guy who started or this freshman, we're going to take the MAC guy who started because we're trying to win now. So I think in that regard, it kind of makes it a little funky for, the high schoolers.
But that's the nature of the beast now. So I mean, if you go back, and I don't want to switch sports, but Rick Pitino said it last year as he's coaching at St. John's basketball. He was like, we don't even look at high school seniors anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He said it's easier for us just to go, just from the nature of what we have to do, it's easier for me to go get a guard or a player who's played in college basketball 2, 3, 4 years.
I agree.
He's proven. Why would I give the same money to Alex, who's not proven coming from high school, and I can go ahead and give it to Brian, and Brian's played, 80 college basketball games. I just think what you're talking about and what you're trying to avoid is inevitably happening right now.
Right. It's happening. I just don't think it's fair. You know what I mean? So this one window thing, I think this is why I like it, because it gives them that opportunity to pick your school, go there, get settled, and then now go ahead and do what you need to do with your high schoolers. You know what I mean?
And the getting settled piece, I don't know where you were going with this. It does tie into the academic calendar. I mean, that's probably...
What do you mean?
With schools being on semesters, getting kids there to transfer in January allows them to enroll and take classes because they are students.
I didn't even...
That's
part of the problem. This is minor league football. That's part of the problem to me anyway. It's minor league football, and I don't. In a perfect world, I wish they could just say, "Hey, just play football." And after you realize that most of this shit won't work out for any of you all, just start college then. Like, I'm being serious. No, this is my proposal. I wish that you could say, "Hey, I'm about to go play football I have 5 years to play 5 years."
Right.
And I can take some classes if I want to. I can not take some classes if I want to, right? But once I realize that this shit isn't working out, I would be more focused on finishing my education. Like, how many people take school serious once they realize that this thing isn't working out?
I don't know. I took it serious the whole time.
Well, speak for yourself, right?
That's all I can do.
But I'm saying most guys take school serious when they realize that it's not going to work out. And I'm saying that most guys, they would make some money. You can take some classes here and there, but you're playing professionally for your school. And when you realize that this don't work out, like your course and class selection is just totally different, bro. I just believe that, the quality of your education would change if you just admit it to yourself that, man, this isn't working out and I should probably take some classes that'll set me up for my future.
I agree to that now, because when you're in college, the classes that you take are usually fitting your football schedule.
Yes.
And you don't really put in, you don't really take the class that you want to take to become what you want to become if football doesn't work out. So I agree with that.
That's why they call me a genius.
Well, I don't know. Maybe the NCAA is listening. Obviously, the Browns listened to your advice that you gave last week
I'm
on a couple of clips.
We're going to clip this.
The NCAA does.
Yeah.
The new board of directors.
Breaking news. Maurice Claret.
People like my answers. They just like politically incorrect. I just think most of my stuff is like good stuff. Is just, like, how the hell are we going to get this across the finish? I just get a bunch of politically incorrect stuff. Or I just say stuff in a way I just be like, it probably make people cringe, but like, he got a point. A little cringy, but yeah, if these motherfuckers can just practice all day, Just think about this, because that's what they do anyway.
They're already doing it anyway.
They already do it anyway. Like,
they do it anyway, man. They do it to benefit the universities. I forget the term that they use, but they exploit the athletes.
Let me ask you, do you think people would stop coming to games if they realize all these kids didn't go to class?
No, they're gonna show up regardless. It's a good time. It's entertainment. It's entertainment at the end of the day.
Start posting class attendance online, and nobody's going to give a shit.
No.
Let's tell our tens of thousands of viewers, soon to be hundreds of thousands, what do they have to look forward to the rest of the week on the show? We got some college football previews, NFL previews.
Yeah.
We got our gambling show where they're going to learn from the nation's best picker, game analyst, passion tickets every week. We're hoping to, hopefully Maurice wins you some money. You know you will with me.
What else?
That's it. That's all I memorized. That's it.
My man.
Yeah, but that's what you'll have that's what you'll have for the rest of the week. Just so you know, once a week we'll we're going to include some sort of business episode for you all. And then we also have a show that you can prepare for the weekend, whether it's DraftKings, whether it's Prize Picks, Underdog, or whatever one of these platforms. Whoever starts to sponsor us will say we're going to pick on your platform. But you can literally join us every Friday. And when it's time to go into the weekend, and whether you grabbing your weed, your Coronas, your Modelo, your little vodka, your little Hennessy, LeBron got a little Hennessy commercial that might influence you to go get you a little Hennessy and lemon juice or whatever the fuck he was doing on there. Whatever you do before you do that, just make some references back to this. And then if you want to, you can shoot me a couple of text messages if you say, hey, you need some in-game advice. If I'm not on the sidelines with Ohio State, I'll give you some in-game advice. And then you can actually post those screenshots. Only if they right, though. Look, and if they wrong, I'm going to say I was hacked.
That wasn't really me.
That wasn't really me.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I read the comments too a little bit. And one of the comments, the guy said, man, tuning into y'all show, it actually, made me hit on my parlay. So it's working.
Well, if you followed it up with a question, whose betting advice did you follow? Obviously, who's going to say Brother Brian?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nonetheless,
we're going to log on. We're going to look at that comment. We're going to ask him. I want to see who he says.
Okay.
Who did he follow?
Yeah. Hey.
Well, it wasn't your Michigan pick.
No.
He said it was UNC and Clemson.
I edit that out.
Editorial.
Yeah. Editorial control. That's it.
Yes,
I don't know. Did you have any more topics to cover?
No, that's it. We're good.
Well, show moved faster because DJ wasn't on it. So
leave my dog DJ alone, man.
Yeah, we got to throw shots down in South Florida. With that being said, man, hopefully y'all enjoyed the show for today. We're here every day at 5 p.m. Our man DJ will be back tomorrow, it seems like. And every Friday, you can plan on DJ tailgating on the show. That's one thing you do. And if you want some uninterrupted entertainment, be sure to tune in every day, 5 p.m. We'll start with the facts, and we'll holler at you tomorrow.